Hi, Mike.
Hey Noah, how are you?
Good. How are you doing?
Good.
So, you want to get into the interview?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. So, first off, I'm wondering, how did you get into basketball?
I am the youngest of I have two siblings. I have a brother and sister. They're both 13, about 13 years older than me. And so from a young age, I was going to their games. I was in a baby carrier. My mom was taking me to their games, and it got to a point where I wouldn't even sleep at night unless there was, noise going on because I was used to sleeping at their games. And that's really what sparked it. You didn't lose me, did you?
Oh no, that's fine.
Um, I had a call pop up. Sorry about that. Yeah, so I just grew up wanting to be like them, and it's my parents didn't even really play basketball, so it's kind of funny that me, my brother, and sister all ended up playing basketball.
Yeah, and so you were pretty good at it, of course. I was wondering, what was the experience like for you playing in high school? Being the Nebraska Player of the Year as a junior and really having that hype to you as being one of the top players in your class.
It was a lot of fun. I was lucky enough to be on some really good teams, and I think that's where a lot of my success started. You can be a really good player, but unless you're winning games and have a good team, you're not going to get a lot of recognition. And we won state my sophomore year, and that really I think put our team on the map a little bit in Nebraska. And then my junior year, we had another successful year, won state again, and but yeah, it was a blast, and I was really close to all my teammates. They were some of my best friends, and so it made it fun getting to share that success with some of my best friends.
What was that state experience like for you?
Oh, it was awesome. I was so nervous. My sophomore year was the first year we made it to state, and at my high school there had never been a boys basketball team that had ever won state before. And we were, I believe, the 2 or 3 seed my sophomore year, and I was definitely nervous just being a little sophomore playing in the state tournament. I was starting for our team, and but yeah, it was an awesome experience.
What are some of your favorite memories from your time playing in the state tournament?
In the state tournament, really, actually, my favorite memories are the 2 times we won state. We had doggy piles on the middle of the court, and I remember we had a center. His name was Jose. He's 7'1", I think,
Wow.
around there. He tackled me, and then everyone piled on top of me, and yeah, that's definitely one of my favorite memories.
And obviously, probably before the pandemic. Um,
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
so,
No more doing that.
yeah. Of course, you grew up in Nebraska, so I was wondering what made you commit to Iowa.
Yeah, Coach McCaffrey and his staff had gotten the job, and I think one of the first weekends he had taken the job, he came up to Sioux City to visit myself and Adam Woodbury because we lived I was on the Nebraska side, he was on the Iowa side in Sioux City, and ever since then, I really, really liked Coach and his staff, and I loved their style of play. I felt like it fit me perfectly. And then, I grew up playing with Woodbury, and I knew he was. I mean, we had talked about going to Iowa together, and we made that decision. And that's. I felt like we had the pieces to do some special things there, and really help turn the program around. And that's what made us choose there. And always wanted to play in the Big Ten as well. That was one of my dream conferences to play in. So it was an easy decision.
So, were you a Hawkeye fan, or did you like the Nebraska Cornhuskers?
We don't need to talk about that. My growing up, my whole house was filled with Cornhusker stuff.
Oh, that's sad.
and my whole family. I converted them to Iowa basketball, but my whole family still cheers for Nebraska football.
Oh, that's tough, especially this year.
Unfortunately.
So, and you and Woodbury teamed up a lot at Iowa as well, and I always enjoyed watching you, lay it down there for them, or maybe I'm kicking it back out to you, and then you nail three. And as a freshman, you started 30 games, so you were a big part of that Iowa program. And how did that early experience help you during your time at Iowa?
It helped me tremendously. I remember, I'd started right from the get-go at Iowa, but there's really nothing like the in-conference Big Ten games. And I remember my freshman year, my first Big Ten game, we were playing Indiana. They're number 1 in the country. They had Victor Oladipo, they had Cody Zeller, really, really good team. And man, that was a different experience. That's when I realized this isn't high school anymore. This is a lot faster, a lot more physical. I remember because in college, the media timeouts are every 4 minutes. So I remember I got to that 16-minute mark, and there's the first media timeout, and that was like the most exhausted I've ever been in my life because you can practice all you want, but I wasn't ready for that speed and the physicality of Big Ten, and that's when I realized, I need to really work on that, and I worked on it that season, gained a ton of experience, and then that off season, I knew exactly what I needed to work on going into the sophomore year.
So, I'm wondering about that Indiana game. Was it at Iowa or Indiana?
At Iowa. We played really well, but ended up losing it. I think they went to I think they went to the Final Four that year. I'd have to go back and look, but that was one of the best teams I've ever played against.
Yeah, I know Oladipo. I saw him on The Masked Singer. I don't follow the NBA too much. As a Bulls fan, it's kind of hard too. So
yeah, no kidding.
So as a point guard, you were able to throw down some crazy dunks. Kevin Harlan, I was watching a highlight, was calling your game against Ohio State. Said he may be 6'2", but he can fly like he's 6'9". So, what are some of your favorite dunks for your time at Iowa?
I know exactly what one you're talking about at Ohio State. That's one of my favorites. My other favorite one. I have two more favorite ones. One, forget what year it was, but we were playing Illinois, and it was coming. I think there was maybe a minute and a half left in the game, and I came down the lane and got a dunk, and it was a crucial part of the game, and I think that put us up by 6 or 8, and helped seal the victory. But that was definitely one of my favorites. And then my other one of my favorites was playing at North Carolina. In the first half, I got a steal on our press and went down and dunked it. Mainly because I grew up loving North Carolina. I've always been a Roy Williams fan, and that's just a really cool place to play. Those are some of my favorites.
And that leads perfectly into my next question. You got to play in some of the best environments in college basketball. Carver, that place gets loud after a big dunk like that. North Carolina, of course, the Dean Dome. I got to go in there. That thing's gigantic.
Huge, yeah.
I know Indiana. I've never been there, but it's always fun to watch on TV. Even so, what were your favorite places to play?
Yeah, Indiana was up there. They were always good. So their fans would show up to the game before we even got there. They would be there, 2 hours, sometimes earlier than that, and that's just a unique arena. It's everyone's on top of you. It's I like that place. Michigan State was one. Really all the Big Ten arenas, they're unique in their own way, and the Big Ten has such an awesome fan base. They were all a lot of fun. And then Iowa State's one that Iowa State was probably the loudest arena we ever played in. I think part of that's because of the rivalry there. Mm-hmm. And their fans would be really, up for that game. And both of our teams were good every year we were playing, so it was always a battle. So that's another one. Like you said, I've been really lucky to play in a lot of really cool arenas. Another one Madison Square Garden. Played there in the NIT tournament my freshman year, and again my junior year against Syracuse. So yeah, a lot of places.
There we go. All right, and so you made to the NIT a couple times, NCAA tournament, March Madness. You got to play in that as well. So,
Yep.
what were some of your favorite experiences from playing in March Madness?
March Madness is a whole different animal. It's a lot of fun. I mean, that's a tournament you grow up watching every year. You fill out your brackets every year. It's just an amazing tournament, and then when you get to actually experience it and play in it, it's that's another time I was actually nervous. I didn't get nervous a lot playing, but that was one of them. And I remember one thing that's really cool about the NCAA tournament is every city, they want to host the NCAA tournament, so they try to make it as best experience possible, because then they maybe get picked the following year. And so like when your plane lands, a lot of times they have a band out there playing. They have like the red carpet there. You walk into the airport.
Wow.
Too. I don't know. It's cool.
Yeah, and so I remember at your camp, which we'll get to later, you mentioned one of your favorite moments there was where you missed the final second shot, but Woodbury rebounded and put it in for the win. So can you walk us through that play there?
Yeah. Well, first, right before that, Temple, they had some free throws they were shooting, and I can't remember the guy's name off the top of my head, but he had hurt his right hand, so he was a right-handed player. He was actually shooting it left-handed, and he missed both the free throws, and we had a play to come down, and I think it was actually designed for it was either Utah or Peter Jock to get the shot, and they were covered, so I had to try to make a play, and I drove to the right, kind of towards the baseline, and put up a shot, and I sometimes call it a pass because it didn't hit the rim. But Woodbury, like always, he was in perfect position and tapped it right in, and we went nuts, and that's definitely. I mean, I get goosebumps just thinking about it. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, I remember I was at my friend's house watching that play. We were in his garage. And so I saw that. I was like, oh, my gosh, we just blew it. And then Woodbury puts it in. And we were going crazy, just like you guys did. And
Woodbury had my back a lot through my whole career, including that time.
Yeah, and so and you guys went through a lot of really big battles. I think it was the first time since 1999 you beat a number one team. And that was Michigan State in 2015. You scored a career-high 25 points in that game. I remember that one like it was yesterday. Just what were some of your favorite memories from that game, and what was that experience like after the game? Because it had to be wild there.
Yeah, it was awesome. Everyone stormed the court after the game. It was one of my best games I've ever had. I think I also had a double-double in that one. It's always fun to beat a good team like Michigan State, no matter what they're ranked. They happen to be ranked number one. And then, I think the best part about that win was Denzel Valentine was hurt. So then we had to play them again like 3 games later. And all the media was saying, the only reason we beat them was because Denzel Valentine was out. And they're going to whoop us when we play them at their place, and we came down there and beat them again. So that was one of my favorite parts about it.
Yeah, and I remember that game as well against Michigan State. Pretty much all those games are just crazy. That they stick in your memory. And a lot of those games do. Like you were able to create memories. Like for me, I remember NIT tournament one year. I think it might have been your freshman year because Devin Marble, Aaron White were still there. And that was my first Hawkeye game ever, and I was way up in the top, but I was so excited to see, like, you and Devin Marble were my favorite players, so that was awesome to watch. So what's it like knowing that you can create those memories for so many Hawkeye fans?
I think that's something that really hasn't necessarily set in yet. Your 4 years at Iowa just fly by. You're having some of the best memories of your life playing in all those games, and you're battling every day with your teammates. So then you don't really have time to sit back and reflect on your career until, after it's all done. And, even now, I still, I think that's something that I don't, it's hard to realize how big of an impact, I think I run into people all the time where they tell me, oh, my kid was, you're my kid's favorite player, or, my kid loves basketball because he grew up watching you. And I think back to when I was young, some of the players that I idolized, like Kirk Heinrich. He's a Bulls guy,
I remember
but
him.
he's from Sioux City. I mean, he's one that I grew up idolizing because he's from my area, or different things. And I don't think you necessarily realize the impact you're able to have, especially playing at a place like Iowa, where it's a extremely strong and loyal fan base. And I think I've been able to have a huge impact that way.
Yeah, I remember me and my friend. I think we were watching the Hawkeye game, and we went down there. We got all dressed up in Iowa stuff, and then we played games. I was Mike Gesell. He was Aaron White, and we just played 1-on-1. And
The redheaded duo.
yeah, and so I also remember, like, I adored you when when you were at Iowa. I got to meet you in the tunnel. I think I sent you that picture or tweeted it out once. And I remember seeing you. I'm like, that's Mike Gesell. And I smiled the entire way home after you gave me an autograph, took a picture. So it's those things they really stick in your memory. And like even this, it's just amazing.
I appreciate it.
So in college, I know you talked a lot about your education at camp, and how do you prep at Iowa for your life after basketball?
Iowa helps a lot. It's a really good academic school. I went to the Tippy College of Business, got a finance degree there, but I've always been competitive, whether it's in the court, off the court, in the classroom, things like that. So, one of my life mottos is, what's the point of doing something if you're not going to do it to the best of your ability? So I really take that to heart in every area, and including the classroom. So I always tried to work my hardest there, and it really, paid off. I got an awesome degree, helped me land a great job after I was done playing professional basketball. The Iowa does a tremendous job of preparing you, not only if you have the ability to play professional sports, but also life after that, because every athlete's career comes to an end at some point.
Yeah, and you mentioned you played professional basketball for a little bit after Iowa. That was overseas, and I can't remember where it was.
In Denmark.
Denmark. And so, what were some differences playing there rather in college basketball, the Big Ten?
It's still basketball, but there's a lot of differences. There's a few even rule differences, but I mean, the biggest thing I think was off the court, just, living in a completely new culture, away from family. I've always lived pretty close to family. So that was a big adjustment. But it was a great experience. I was glad I did it. But, I think the reason I didn't continue to play longer is because I knew what I wanted to do after basketball. And I don't know, I'm kind of a homebody. I like the Midwest, and I didn't love living overseas.
Yeah. And so you started your Camp Faith Through Hoops, and you did that in Sioux City. I saw an article you did with Adam Woodbury there, and where we became pen pals after I met you at your camp in Davenport. So where did you get the idea to start that camp?
So I started the one in Sioux City first. Woodbury and I decided to run a joint camp every year. This year, unfortunately, we weren't able to do it because of COVID, but every other year we've done it in Sioux City. And, that one was just so much fun. I decided, it'd be a good idea to run a camp in the Quad Cities where I live now. And 180 is who I partnered with for that. And Rusty Boroff, who runs 180, is I'm related to him. We're cousins. So he approached me about doing a camp, and we decided to partner and make it faith-based as well, and add that message in because those are two things I'm most passionate about is my faith and the game of basketball. So it is a lot of fun. That's another one. Normally we do it around November time. We do it before that. We do it around August. And I don't think we're going to be able to do that one this year either because of COVID. But hopefully next year we'll be able to pick it back up again.
Yeah, and so for kids who can't make it to the camp, what are some tips you'd like to give them?
I think the biggest tip is be consistent and have fun. With consistency, what I mean by that is, kids aren't going to become great just by coming to my camp for 2 or 3 days. They're going to become great by working at it day by day over a long period of time. You don't become great in a day. You don't become great in a year. It takes time. So just be consistent. Enjoy the ups and downs and just have fun with it. Don't take it too serious. That's something when I look back at my career, I wish, I don't know, I had so much passion. I'd be very hard on myself when things weren't going my way. And I wish I would have, been able to just step back, take a deep breath and realize, it's at the end of the day, it is just a game. But yeah, I think the biggest word of advice is stay consistent. Just work at it all the time, and have that passion.
And I may not be any expert. I have not played any D1 basketball here, but also don't change your free throw shooting routine. I changed it almost every week, and I was terrible at it. So.
Yep, that's free throws are a mental thing. I think everyone goes through a time where they just have that mental block, but step up there and shoot them how you always do it.
Yeah, at least I might have been better than Shaq.
That's a good thing.
Yeah. So to close out the interview here, I'd like to do some Would You Rather questions. You up for it?
Okay. Yeah, let's do it.
All right, so would you rather know the history of everything you touched or talk to animals?
Talk to animals, did you say?
Have the ability to, yeah.
Talk to animals.
Yeah.
I think that would be cool.
It really would be. I'd love to know what's going on inside my dog's mind. That would be awesome.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Would you rather eat Mexican or Italian food?
Mexican.
Oh, I'm going to have to disagree with you there. I can't stand the spiciness of some stuff there.
I love spicy food, and I could probably eat burritos or tacos every meal of my life.
You and my dad would have a great time talking about that.
Sweet.
And so the last one I have here, would you rather be Iron Man or Thor?
Iron Man. Yeah. Iron Man's one of my favorite characters. I love how smart he is. Yeah, he has the suit, obviously, that gives him powers, but he's just, a genius, and I love that.
What if it was Thor before Endgame?
I think I'm a big Iron Man fan. I think I have to stick with Iron Man.
So yeah, thank you for taking the time to do this. That was really fun.
Yeah, it was a blast, and I appreciate it. You did an awesome job. I hope you keep pursuing your passion of interviewing, covering sports. That's awesome. I love it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, well, that'll do it for our interview here today. Make sure to like and subscribe. See you next time.
All right.